Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gaming Lounge Podcast, episode 79. Once again, I'm your host, Sebastian, and as always, I'm joined by Dory. How you doing, Dory?
Hello, hey Seb. I'm doing great. Gobble gobble to everybody who celebrated Turkey Day or didn't celebrate Turkey Day. Um, I celebrated by going to my aunt's, eating food, and then passing out for 2.5 hours. So, classic food coma moment. And then we were actually supposed to go to Kim's mom's after that, but instead we just fell asleep. Good stuff. But yeah, I hope everybody had a great time. It's been a nice long weekend for me, 5 days off. So that's been awesome. I don't usually get that amount of time off, so it's been nice. Just been playing video games off and on. And speaking of video games, that's what we're going to talk about. Mostly indie games, but Seb's also going to talk about Kirby Air Riders, and I'm going to talk about And Roger, which is a game that Polygon highlighted for their GOTY conversation. And then, of course, as the thumbnail suggests, we're going to talk about our top 10 indie games.
Yeah, so let's jump right into our first topic, which is going to be Kirby Air Riders. So we're not doing any news this week. Obviously, there's not going to be much news pretty soon before the Game Awards, so we're going to do our spotlights, and then we're going to jump right into our top 10 indie games of the year. So we're going to start with the Kirby Air Riders, which I have played on the Switch too. An overview of it: it's a vehicle combat a game. We play as Kirby characters. That's the best way I can. It's a racing game, but there's vehicle combat, and it's really fun. It's one of the most fun games of the year to play. So let me start with the pros. It's super fun. As I said, it's chaotic. The game leans hard into fast, messy action, and it's the kind of chaos that's going to keep you more laughing and having fun than stressing out. So it's really meant to just get your controller, play with your friends, and just have a blast, and just turn your brain off and really have a good time. The simple controls, there are simple controls, but they have sneaky depth. There's drifting and boosting, and you can use different abilities. And once you learn how the physics works, it's surprisingly very skill based. Like, obviously, it's going to appeal to casual people. Like, if you want to play with your friends, you have fun with it. But if you really want to go to the next level and like be a skilled player and play online and really get into it, then yeah, you'll take the next step and have a really fun skilled game. So I like that it tackles different levels for different players. All right, there's a city trial style mode, which is a standout. Running around, collecting upgrades, and then getting thrown into a random final event keeps matches fresh and unpredictable. There's lots of modes to bounce between. There's races, arena battles, mini modes, and challenges that keep things from feeling the same when you feel like switching it up. It's very bright, smooth, and stylish, and this game really nails the Kirby style. The Kirby's like vibe. It has very colorful worlds and animations, and it makes everything feel lively and fun. The multiplayer is really fun. Playing with friends is chaotic and it's fun, and it's the best way to play. It's the best way to experience this game. I would not recommend this game solo. I would only play this if you have friends to play with. It's not the greatest game for solo play, and you still can enjoy it, but it's definitely meant for multiplayer. And it's approachable. I think that's one of the major pros of this game, besides being fun, is that it's approachable. It's not like baby easy. It's not like Yoshi's Crafted World or something. It's not meant for like 5-year-olds. But beginners can jump in instantly. You can just grab a controller and just jump right in and have fun. But there's enough skills, enough buttons, and enough moves and things to do for skilled players, and you can take the next step, as I said. So those are the pros of this game. Any questions about the pros?
Where do you feel on a scale of like Gran Turismo on the right hand side, right hand like polar extreme, and then like Burnout on the other? Is it more like Burnout than it is Gran Turismo? That's the sense I'm getting.
Yeah, it's way more Burnout. It's like Twisted Metal and Burnout, more
Yeah.
so than a simulator game.
How many characters from it do you actually recognize? Like,
Not that
because
many.
I only, what's that?
Not that many. I'm not a giant
Not
Kirby
that many.
fan. I love Kirby, but
Yeah.
I'm not like an expert on the series. So a handful.
Yeah. All I can think of off the top of my head is like Kirby, DDD, and Meta Knight, and that's it.
Hmm
Oh, and then the Waddle Dees, of course. But yeah,
That's pretty
cool.
much all
Sounds fun.
That's pretty much all I know really of Kirby's.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it sounds fun. It's not. I'm not really a racing fan, so it's not for me. But I'm glad it's good.
Yeah, for sure. So the cons, the controls can feel floaty at times. The glide heavy physics take a little time to understand, and early races can feel like you're sliding around more than driving. The random events can be annoying. City trial is fun, but sometimes you build your ride for speed, and the game suddenly throws you into a melee challenge that makes your build useless. It's like I said, it's not the best game for solo play. The fun drops off if you're playing alone for too long. It's clearly designed for multiplayer in mind, which it can be an issue because if you don't have a Switch 2, you can't play this game. So you only can play it Switch 2 people, I believe. I don't think it's on the Switch 1. Maybe I'm wrong, but I believe it's a Switch 2 exclusive. Actually, let me look that up. I haven't even thought about that. It is a Switch 2 only game, so just keep that in mind. Because I know a lot of people don't have a Switch 2 yet. It's very popular, but it's not that popular yet. So you just be mindful. You can only play with your friends who have Switch 2s. Um, some modes feel like filler. A few of the side modes are quick distractions and don't have enough depth to keep you interested for long. It gets repetitive. It's a repetitive game. Grinding for unlocks or jumping in the same types of events over and over can start to feel samey. Now it's understandable. It's a racing action game that you play with friends in multiplayer game. Like you grind, and these games all have the same problems like that. At some point you hit a ceiling with every mode, and you're just gonna be doing the same thing over and over again. But that's just part of the genre, so it's not a giant issue. And chaos won't click for everyone. If you like tight, clean racing lines or super precise controls, this game might just feel way too messy for you. And the unlock system can be a drag, and some rewards take a bit too long to earn, especially if you're not mixing up the modes. So to sum it up, it's very heavily a multiplayer game. So if you're playing solo, you're not going to have as good of a time. It's a very chaotic game. So if you like more of a simulator, real racing game like Gran Turismo, it's not for you. And overall, the game gets repetitive once you play all the modes already. You know what to expect. You're just gonna be doing the same thing over and over again and grinding for things. So you just got to be mindful of what you're getting into. I think the biggest problem with this game really comes down to the price. Can you justify the price $70 for this kind of game? Is the question,
I was
right?
not aware this game was $70. Oh my god, this should be like 50.
Yep, it's $70. So you got
Yikes.
to keep that in mind when you buy this game. But it is really a fun game, and it's one of the most fun games of the year. And I really recommend it if you like these kind of games. It is surprisingly really great, and I'm glad that the series has come back for the first time in like 20 years, and Sakurai obviously worked on it, and he's one of the best, one of the goats in the industry. He's a Smash Brothers, of course. So yeah, I strongly recommend it. But again, you have to know what you're getting into. So I know the opinions have been mixed on the modes, but the presentation is one of the best of Nintendo this year. So it's a great appetizer for Metroid coming up soon. So it's overall, I've been happy with Nintendo's launch year. I mean, obviously, I'm not happy with the prices and things like that, but I am happy with the games. I thought Mario Kart was a good game. Mario Kart World. I thought Donkey Kong Bonanza was one of the best games of the year. Uh, Pokemon ZA was a good game. I think I said it was an 8 out of 10. I and then you have the Zelda game, which was okay, 7 out of 10, and then the Age of Imprisonment, and then this one, which is I would say it is a 8.5 out of 10 for me. Yeah. So let's move on now to our next spotlight, which is And Roger, which you played. Dory, did you beat it?
I did beat it. Yes, very
Okay.
short game, very easy to beat.
Okay.
Well, I say very easy. We'll talk about it.
Sure.
So, and Roger is, I know it's everybody sit down, brace yourself. It is a very narrative heavy game, but it's not a straightforward narrative at all. It's very confusing at first and kind of upsetting. I would caution anyone who is going to play this game that it does deal with heavy themes, but the heavy themes you think it's dealing with at the very beginning of the game, it's not dealing with. So like, don't be fooled. I don't want to give spoilers away because it's a very short game, and I would recommend you don't read anything about this game. Go in totally blind if you can. I'm going to be very vague with the stuff I say about it, but yeah, it's a little misleading at first, and we'll talk about that in the cons. But and it seems like it would cover some pretty heavy stuff. And it does, but it's totally different from what it's suggesting at the beginning. Anyway, you are playing as this girl at the beginning of the game. And you are. It's basically going through her life and her memories. And I don't want to say too much more than that. But the way the gameplay works is that there are all these little circles or buttons that you press with the mouse button, I hope, because trying to play this on the Steam Deck was not a fun time. So all these little buttons that you press or you move them left to the right. It's all mostly simple and intuitive puzzles to get from one storyboard to another. It's got a beautiful hand-drawn art style with, I guess, what is called two-tone. So almost everything has like a two-color system to it. So, a given frame or a scene might have orange and white or red and blue, or, it's very, very bold and just go look up pictures of it if you aren't going to play it. It's very cute. Even if you are going to play it, I didn't see any pictures that were super spoilery. So maybe it's safe to go look that up. But don't look at any of the text articles. I will say the story told, and again, I'm going to be vague about this, is very important, and it's not something that media often touches. I'm not going to say it never touches because that's not true. But it's it's an important topic, and one that I'm glad that this developer thought of including in her game. Thought it was really well done and very compassionately told. As much as the beginning can be a bit misleading, it is very stressful and very kind of haunting in a way. I doubt you're going to forget the beginning of this game because it's very disorientating, very confusing. You are really put in the shoes of this little girl who is very confused where her father is and why this older man is telling her to take her medicine. So that's how the game starts, and that's not a spoiler. It's directly in the trailers and all of the game descriptions, so I'm not spoiling anything. That's literally the first few minutes of a 1 hour game. So it's a very tense introduction to the world of And Roger. The gameplay is unique. I thought it was very cool how you'll basically move the game forward by doing these little puzzles and these little interactive dioramas, I want to call them, where you're interacting with the world through these little buttons, and it always reflects the main character. Roger is not the main character, by the way. The little girl you play is the main character, but Roger is an important side character. And the little games that you have to do to move the story forward can be sporadic, or they can be very calm, or they can be very pretty, or they can be very distressed. So you go through a lot in that 1 hour. You're never given too many hints. It's not browbeating you with what you're supposed to do next. And you still feel like it's mostly intuitive what you're supposed to do. The music is lovely. I was very charmed by it in general. The presentation, the aesthetic in general is very nice and very cozy, even though the themes are not necessarily happy. And then I would say the game is well paced. If you are kind of frustrated with some of the gameplay, which I think some people were, myself included, I have good news for you. It's not a very long game. You can beat this in an hour flat. So I think it's worth it. But I do have some cons, and we'll talk about them after Seb asks any questions or gives any comments.
No, I don't have any questions because it's a pretty straightforward game. I think
Yeah.
with the pros.
Well, yeah, with the pros specifically. The cons. So the biggest con I have here is the mini games. It's not consistent. Some of them are very intuitive and are fun and make a lot of sense, and they're good. But sometimes, especially when I try to play this on Steam Deck for the first like 20, 30 minutes, that was a mistake. Go play this on your PC with a mouse, because some of the mini games can be finicky, a bit trial and error. They can be a little frustrating. Now, I will say that's partially intentional. You'll know what I mean when you play the game. It is supposed to be frustrating at a certain level, but the frustration's still there. It doesn't matter if it's intended or not. I felt like even with a mouse, the mini games can be a little tricky and frustrating. Other reviewers also noted this. If you look at the Wikipedia,
Yeah,
um,
I can't even picture myself playing this on a Steam Deck. It just feels like it's made
yeah,
for a mouse
yeah,
or
no, and
touch screen.
I was fooled because it says deck verified. So I was like, oh, I'll give this a shot. It's a
Well,
very short game,
yeah.
you know.
Did you try touchscreen on the Steam Deck though? Did that work?
I did, and that's finicky too. It's supposed to be played with a mouse. You would think that you can do a touchscreen, but at least in my
Hmm.
experience, it didn't really work.
Hmm.
So I don't know. That it was weird. And then the last con I have, these are all pretty minor cons. The beginning of the game, as I already said, can be a bit misleading. Make players think something very different is happening from what's actually happening, which is intentional, but it might push some players away and think that this game is dealing with different, very heavy topics, which is not. I know I'm being very vague, but I don't want to give spoilers away. So I'm trying to be helpful, but not too helpful. Overall, I'd say this is a good game. I don't think it should be on anyone's GOTY list personally, just because I found the gameplay frustrating at times. And although I think the themes are sweet, I feel like it's not something I haven't seen before in media, and it's not something that like wowed me. But it
Hmm.
was good. It was good, and I think it was very smartly made and designed in accordance with its story. So I liked it overall. Any questions or comments?
So, do the mini games get like repetitive, or are they uniquely different from each other, or how's it?
They're all uniquely different from each other. I mean, I'd say, some mechanics overlap with each other. Sometimes you see something that you've seen before, but in a different context.
Yeah,
But it's an hour long. Pretty much all the puzzles are at least a bit
yeah,
different from each other in some way.
yeah,
I wouldn't say they get repetitive, just that they can be a little finicky, and that
yeah.
can be frustrating.
It reminds me a lot of Florence.
Yes, and that's what it's been very. I almost brought that up, but it's been very much compared to Florence, which I also liked. I thought that was a good game.
That's it for me. Makes sense to me.
Cool. Yeah, I don't have much else to say. I just wanted to quickly shout out this game. It's a cool game. If you like narrative games that
Yeah,
have a purpose and are talking about important things, I definitely recommend this. It's only an hour of your time. Go check it out.
yeah. You said it's a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah, it's a good game. I wouldn't say it's a great game, but it was a good game. I liked the narrative, and I loved the art style, and I really liked the music too.
Yeah.
Just the gameplay can be frustrating, so that's what brings it down
So
for
would
me.
that be like a 7.5 out of 10
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
10
something like
scale?
that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check it out. Especially if it's only an hour long too. I have seen people recommend it on YouTube, and I did see it uh, with you that you bought it. So I definitely
Yeah.
want to check it out. All right, let's transition to our final topic, which is gonna be a big topic. I know it's early in the episode, but this topic is gonna be quite long. This is our top 10 indie games of the year. Now, just be mindful. This is very subjective, and this is really just our favorite indie games of the year in a ranking, I suppose. But it's really not it, like a game that's at number 5 is not like way better than number 10. It's just I have to do a ranking. But I would say the top 3 is definitely by far my 3 favorite indie games of the year. So just be mindful of that. I don't feel super strongly that number 10 is like way worse than number 5 or anything like that. It's not how it works. But it is largely our favorite indie games of the year. But it is also what we think are the best as well. So let's start with our number 10, and then we're going to count down to number 1. So number 10, or you go first. What is your number 10 indie game of the year?
Sure. I just talked, so I thought you'd go first, but
No, you can go
I'll go
first.
first.
Yeah.
So my number 10 is Karma the Dark World. So the way that Seb did this, I think, was very smart. So I just copied him wholesale. Is we're going to talk about the developer, the publisher, the premise, genre, style, and length, and maybe we'll say a couple words about how we liked it.
Yeah.
So number 10 again is Karma the Dark World. This was developed by Pollard Studio, published by Wired Productions and Gamera Games. So the premise is that you're trapped in the minds of the criminals that you prosecute, as you kind of navigate this Lynchian tale of oppression, control, and observation straight out of George Orwell's 1984. Actually, the game takes place in a fictionalized version
Yeah.
of the year 1984 in East Germany. You play as an agent of the Thought Bureau in this first-person psychological horror game. So, like I just said, psychological horror game, bit of a walking sim at parts. The style is semi-realistic. They used Unreal Engine 5, so it looks pretty nice. I mentioned Lynchian, so it's a bit surreal, but always spooky, very spooky. There's a good amount of, I wouldn't say jump scares, but a good amount of horrifying stuff in this game for sure. And then it's not a particularly long game. Almost none of the games I'm going to highlight are. I think the longest game I have is like over 10 hours. But yeah, this one's around 6 hours. I'd say this was a great game, but similar to And Roger, I had some issues with the gameplay. Some of the gameplay loops were just frustrating, and I didn't find them very enticing or interesting, or felt like they fleshed out the story in any meaningful way.
Yeah.
It just kind of felt like they were there.
Yeah.
But and also some of the story just feels like, I understand being inspired by something, but they are very inspired by 1984. There's some, big nods to 1984 that just felt like we're a little too on the nose. But that said, the writing is mostly excellent.
Yeah.
The voice acting is great. The visuals are fantastic, especially for an indie game. That's the power of Unreal Engine 5. And I didn't have many technical issues either, for those wondering, as some people do with Unreal games. So this felt well optimized too, which is a miracle in our time, unfortunately. So yeah, a great game. And just wanted to shout it out one more time this year.
All right. So let me go with my number 10, which is Heartworm, which I did give an impression on this year. It is developed by Vincent Adinolfi. The publisher is Dread XP, and the genre is survival horror. So the premise is you play as Sam, who is a woman haunted by the death of her grandfather. She's following mysterious online forums, and she ventures into a supposedly supernatural house tucked in the mountains, and she's trying to reconnect with the past. And instead, she's drawn into a dark mystery where memories and grief blur with horror. So what the style of this game is, it's an old school survival horror game. It has fixed tank controls, fixed camera angle, but instead of shooting enemies, you carry a camera and you basically take pictures of them in a first-person mode. So it switches from old school survival horror to a first-person mode, and you take pictures of the ghosts like Pokemon Snap, basically. And it mixes puzzle solving and limited combat. It mixes that really great atmosphere. It has pre-rendered backgrounds. It has mixed with real-time graphics. It has tank controls, which you can turn off. It has modern aiming, and it has a really good soundtrack. It's around 4 to 6 hours long, and there's multiple endings that depend on your choices and exploration. The usual for survival horror, where there's different endings. I think it's really one of the most underrated games of the year, and I really don't see anyone talking about it, but it really is one of the best survival horror games in the indie space. And I strongly recommend it if you like the genre. I don't think Dory would like this game, obviously, because she doesn't like, tank controls and the fixed camera and all the angles and all that. But if you like that genre and you miss that genre, this is one of the must-play games to check out. I really enjoyed this game. So, yeah. All right, number 9, Dory. What is your number
9? I also want to point out that almost all of these games, maybe not all of these games, but almost all of these games, at least for me, I'm pretty sure for Seb too, we have given impressions about. So if you want to hear more detailed thoughts, you can always go check out our previous episodes where we talk about them.
Yeah.
And we always have timestamps too, unlike much bigger channels that easily could, but never do it.
There's 3 of them I didn't talk about, either because they just came out, or I played them long after they came out or whatever, so I just didn't find the time. But I talked about most of them for sure.
Yeah, I've talked about, I think, all of these games, but I could be wrong. Anyway, number 9, I definitely talked about this one. This one's called Jump the Track, developed by, and this is going to start a pattern, Seed by Seed, and published by Seed by Seed.
Yeah, this was a thumbnail. This is one of my thumbnails, actually.
Yeah, that's right. So shout out to Jump the Track. Love this game. You play a man named Sam who's been associated with the wrong crowd for too long and has messed up too many times. You play pachinko games. By the way, I wrote all these descriptions, but you play pachinko games to make influential choices on the story and potentially even overthrow the system with the help of a colorful crew. So this is a very interesting game. The genre is Choices Matter. It's a bit of a comedy and an adventure. very cartoony style. Reminds me of classic Cartoon Network shows from like the 2000s or
Hmm.
2010s or something.
Right.
And this is a breezy 2 to 3 hour game. You can replay it, and you're encouraged to replay it because the choices matter. But I personally almost never do that, just because I usually like to one and done. If I play a game like this, I always want the optimal ending, and then I don't really want to go back unless like I absolutely adored it and really want to know. But even then, usually I'll just go on YouTube or something
Right.
and just watch alternate stuff.
Right.
Especially because some of these games, like I was playing this game called Late Shift, which is like an FMV Choices Matter game,
Yeah.
and like sometimes in these games you can't skip past cutscenes or dialogue, and it's like it's just a drag to like get platinums or even if you're not doing platinums, get a better ending. So anyway, this was cool. I wasn't sure how I'd feel about the pachinko stuff. If you're not familiar, by the way, pachinko is basically like it's like Candy Crush, I think, where basically you're hitting these little orbs and you're hitting them into other colored orbs and you're trying to you're basically trying to line up a certain number of orbs that will get you a certain emotion in response to a question. So maybe they're making you angry, and you're going to try to aim for those angry orbs, and that'll get you an angry response, right? You only have so many orbs to like shoot at, or to shoot, but different companions along the way give you different powers. So it's not like the same pachinko game over and over and over again. You get different powers and
Right.
different responses. I'm not sure how much it really matters, how much your choice. This is always the perennial question in these kind of games. But I was happy in general. I did. The reason why it's up this low is that so there's some railroading towards the end that I didn't appreciate. And it felt like my choices mattered less, which is the opposite of what you want. You want the choices to matter less in the beginning, not at the end. But overall, I thought this was great, and the political commentary is very good too. So, gotta recommend it.
All right. So my next game, number 9, is The Nightling, which is developed by Twirlbound and it's published by Saber Interactive. And the genre is a 3D platformer. So you play as a young apprentice knight wielding a magical shield, exploring vibrant lands filled with monsters and traps and hidden secrets. And your goal is to grow in skill and courage while uncovering the fate of your missing mentor. So the style of this game is colorful. It's very whimsical. Has really nice visuals. Very approachable combat. It combines light platforming and exploration and puzzle elements. The world is full of charm and personality, making even small encounters feel quite rewarding. Overall, this game is 6 to 8 hours long for the main story, and there's extra secrets and challenges for completionists. This is it's an open world game. It's a 3D platformer that if you like this genre, you'll really enjoy it. It kind of went under the radar again in this genre. I really had a good time with it. It's a really nice casual game. Very welcoming for different players. Dory, have you heard about this game at all?
Yeah, I have briefly heard about Nightling. I haven't played it myself though, and don't really know anybody who have besides you, honestly.
Right. So it's been one of the most underrated games of the year, I think. But if you like the 3D platform genre, I think you'll really like this. Like, there's a nice big open world to explore. It's very colorful. It's it's basically like it's like any 3D platform, I suppose. It's like, you know, but the cool thing is you can do all cool tricks with like the shield and stuff. Like he can use it in combat, but he
Hmm.
can also like slide on it. He can glide. There's so much you can
Cool.
do. Yeah, I really like this game. So this is definitely the number 9 for me. One of the best indie games of the year. All right, Dory, what's your number 8?
All right, my number 8, Drifting. No, I'm just kidding. The Drifter. I love this game. This came out of nowhere for me, and I think you're the one who recommended it to me, if I
Yes,
remember correctly.
correct.
Yeah. So this is developed by Powerhoof and published by, you guessed it, folks, Powerhoof. You are a wandering bum who has come back home for a funeral. However, it isn't long before you find yourself on the wrong end of the law and need to plan your own. But death isn't the end in this 2D pixelated, pulpy point and click game. You see what I did there with the alliteration? It's fun. This is a point and click game, which I am on record about being very mixed on as a genre because sometimes this shit is frustrating. It's also a mystery game, very noir inspired and story rich. The style is classic 2D pixels, similar to, I guess, SNES. And then the length is around 8 hours. I really liked this game. I did need a walkthrough as I got along because I just me no think good when it comes to these kind of games. But I enjoyed it. I had a really good time, and there's voice acting all throughout the game, which is really impressive for an indie studio. And it's good voice acting. Like everyone's voice acted really well. The writing is really smart and solid. There's some liberties that they take with the understanding of certain sci-fi concepts, but it is overall a very good time. I really enjoyed this. Highly recommend it if you enjoy a pulpy noir point and click game. This is definitely going to be right up your alley. An alley which is, I presume, very dark, dimly lit, and full of men narrating to themselves. So yeah, great game. Go check it out. The Drifter.
All right. So my number 8 is Constance, which probably the newest game on this list between both of us actually. It is developed and published by BTF, which is a smaller company. This is the first game I've ever played from them. I believe they're German, but I'm not entirely sure. But the genre of this game is it's a Metroidvania. So you play as Constance, an artist exploring a surreal, painterly world shaped by her inner struggles. She uses a magical paintbrush to fight enemies, solve puzzles, and uncover hidden secrets. So the style of this game is it's hand drawn. It's very colorful. It has paint-based combat and platforming. This game blends exploration, action, and emotional storytelling. People people compared this game to Hollow Knight and Celeste. It's like a mix of the two, and people also talk about like how the character moves, kind of like Splatoon. It's really pretty and it's really fun. I was really surprised how good this game was because like I said, it just came out and that's already on my list. But I don't play a lot of Metroidvanias in a year, and there's only two on my list, and this was one of them, and that's how good this game was. This game is so pretty and has nice story themes and things like that that I can even recommend this for Dory, who doesn't really like this genre, but you might enjoy this one. It is 6 to 8 hours long, so it's not like Hollow Knight where it's like 25 to 30 hours long or higher. It's on the shorter end of a Metroidvania, so I think the pacing is better than in other Metroidvanias. Which is, I think, usually the biggest weakness of the genre is when you have to backtrack a lot and you get lost the map and everything. This one is not as bad as that. So yeah, that's any questions about this game, Dory?
No, I did look at the Steam page for this earlier when you added it to your Steam library because I wanted to see what it was. I really like the art style, like you said, very colorful and bright. I'm glad to hear that it's not super long, and maybe it's a little more accessible to me. I think I put it on my backlog. I didn't put it in like want to play, but I did put it in my backlog. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to our number 7.
Yeah. So my number 7 is Luto. This was tough. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to put the Drifter here or back there, but I had some problems with. I had similar problems actually between both these games. Now that I think about it, so these games are very kind of interchangeable. But anyway, I went with Ludo because Ludo took bigger swings with its genre. This is developed by Broken Bird Games, and wait for it, published by Broken Bird Games. You are trapped in your house and you don't know why. This is a psychological horror game that deals with issues of grief. Ludo is an avant-garde horror game, great for anyone who appreciates a risky narrative. So yeah, I wanted to kind of reward. And it's too silly. It's just my own top 10. Who cares? But I kind of wanted to figuratively reward the devs behind Ludo for taking big risks here because I really appreciated it. This is a very trippy, weird game. It is a horror game. And it's a psychological first-person horror game where you're stuck in a time loop. And stop me if you've heard this one before, but you've got to do all these little puzzles to figure out why you are where you are and how to get out of it. But I think they do this very smartly, and the graphics are really nice, and the themes are really touching, and the small bit of voice acting and writing in this game is incredible. So I would go check this out if I were you. It is um, a bit of a semi-realistic with disturbing imagery abound. It's under 5 hours, but I would my biggest criticism: go use a walkthrough for this. There's like a labyrinth section, and like I got stuck there for way too long. So use a walkthrough if you get stuck. Even with the walkthrough, I still struggled a little bit in a couple parts, so that could be frustrating. But overall, I think Ludo's got the goods. This is a great narrative game, and it deals again with some very heavy topics, but in a very accessible and meaningful way.
Yeah, I still have to play that actually. I keep putting it back because I'm just in the mood for something else. But I will get to it by the end of the year. All right, my number 7 is Ball X Pit, which is developed by Kenny Sun and his friends, and publisher is Devolver Digital. Genre is it's a roguelite brick breaker game. So the premise of the game is you control a bouncing ball, battling monsters while building up your base between runs. The goal is to survive and grow stronger and unlock new abilities as you go. So the style is it's very fast-paced, physics-based action with silly, chaotic energy. It combines roguelike progression with addictive gameplay loops. It is around 6 to 10 hours long for the main runs with extra replayability from random levels and upgrades. This is one of the most addicting games of the year. It's one of the most fun games of the year. This is the perfect Steam Deck game, perfect PC handheld game, or even on the Switch. I don't know if it's on the Switch or not, but if it is, I would play on the Switch as well. It's like Balatro last year. It's just one of those indie games that catches everybody by storm, and people have a blast with it. It's addicting, and you just really kind of just turn your brain off and have fun with it. So it's one of the most fun games of the year. I really had a good time with it. So I recommend everybody plays that game.
Do you think I would like it? I was tempted to go check this out. Do you think I would enjoy it?
I think it's worth a try. I think you might like it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So all right. So what's your number 6, Dory?
My number 6 is Cat Detective Albert Wild. This is developed by Beyond Those Hills and published by Beyond Those Hills. The premise is that you prepare yourself for a noir-inspired adventure that'll have you feline fine. Sorry, I had to make at least one cat pun here. Humanoid animal creatures have taken over our planet. I'm not suggesting violently. I just mean in the game that the humanoid animal creatures are, the main characters. Anyway, they still have all the problems that we do. It's up to you, Albert Wild, cat detective, to discover what's happening and maybe even get paid. This is a comedy adventure that is story rich. I wouldn't say that the choices really matter at all, but it's fun. This game really surprised me. This is one of the funniest games of the year for me. It's written very smartly. It is similar in a way to Chicken Police, but instead of it being kind of you're watching from a detached camera point of view, this one's like third person, first person, kind of deal. So you're really inhabiting Albert a little bit more than that. But he's your classic detective. He just happens to be a cat. He's a bit of a drunk, owes people money. He's got an ex, yada yada. You've heard it all before, but it lampoons and celebrates the genre like any good parody should do. So go check it out. This was a really funny game. I don't want to ruin any of the surprises, but there's some cool twists here. It has a kind of realistic, grainy black and white noir style, and you can beat it in under 5 hours. So go check it out.
Absolutely. All right. My number 6 is Absalom, which I gave an impression on not too long ago. It's developed and published by Dotemu or Dotemu. I think it's Dotemu. Either way, they're the people that make a lot of beat 'em up games. They made the Ninja Turtles beat 'em up. They're making the new Marvel game that's coming out. That's a beat 'em up. And this game is no different. It is a beat 'em up roguelite mix. You dive into a stylish, fast-paced brawler where every fight feels intense and chaotic. It is a co-op game, so you're going to have a good time with your friends, and you gradually unlock new abilities and weapons as you progress. Alright, the roguelite mechanics. So the style it's a roguelite, and it has tight, weighty combat in a dark, atmospheric world. There's short, punchy runs with boss fights, and it makes it easy to jump in and out. This game is around 5 to 8 hours long on your first playthrough, and then you can keep going with your friends, and there's more to unlock and more co-op stuff to do. So it's a really good game if you like the beat 'em up genre. And the roguelike mechanics, which I usually not a big fan of, I quite liked. So even though I don't love roguelites, there's a fair amount of roguelikes on my top 6 list of indies, which is funny. So I'm starting to like roguelike more. I guess it really just depends on the game and how it handles it. Because some roguelikes I really just don't appeal to me. But Absalom is one of the best games. If you like beat 'em ups, this is like, you have to play this game. It's like one of the premier beat 'em up games of the year. Even though it's an indie game, it is really one of the best games in the genre this year.
And Seb's actually not done with roguelikes. He's still got one more roguelike he's going to talk about, or two actually.
I got 2 more.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Dory, what is your number 5?
My number 5 is Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. Developed by Don't Nod and published by Don't Nod. The premise is it's a Dora game. No, I'm just kidding. The premise is is a game where you follow 4 teenage girls living in the mid-90s. They all experience this strange phenomenon together and try to figure out what the hell's going on while also, being teenagers, surviving bullies and family struggles and stuff like that. The game switches between that time period and a more modern time period, aka the 2020s, to compare and contrast how your actions have affected the characters. There's gay shit, so that's pretty cool. This is a choices matter, story rich game. Take a shot every time I say choices matter or story rich. Please don't do that, you'll die. This is a semi-realistic style with some cartoonish elements, I guess you could say.
It's like Life is Strange.
Yeah, it's like Life is Strange. The length is about 12 hours to be both parts, maybe a little less. But this is probably by far the if I had Hades 2, that would be the longest, but this is by far the longest game on my list. And probably the closest to a AAA game. Well, except for one other one, which we'll talk about. But which Seb and I will talk about at the same time, actually. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, this was a great game. I had issues with the narrative and the way it ended, but I was so charmed by the aesthetic and by the characters and by the writing that it didn't bother me that much. I had it on my top 10 for quite a while, but eventually the games just got too good. The games were good. And games are back, as Inside Xbox would say, or Outside Xbox, excuse me. I think Seb and I both really enjoyed this one. I was surprised actually not to see it kind of on the bottom of your top 10 or something.
It didn't even make it, but it's in my honorable mention.
Oh, okay.
For indie games.
But yeah, great game. Really enjoyed it. I had some problems with some later choices that they made, but like I said, very charmed by what they've done here.
Yeah, the reason why it's not on my list is because I thought episode 2 was disappointing compared to episode 1. I don't like the ending. I thought everything was wrapped up. I didn't like how things were wrapped. I mean, I'm going off memory, so this is a long time ago. Bear with me, but I remember not liking the ending, or at least being disappointed with it. I might have liked it and thought it was alright, and then was disappointed by it. But either way, I remember being negative about the episode 2 compared to episode 1.
Yeah, and I was as well, because but for a different reason. Mine was more gameplay focused. I found some of the puzzles absolutely infuriating.
That too. There was especially one puzzle where you have to stack your suitcase, and it made no sense.
It made no sense, and it was dumb, and I hated it. Just thinking about it makes me upset. So yeah, episode 2 was definitely weaker than episode 1, but episode 1 was so good. So
but
it kind of balances out.
Even episode 2 was still okay. I didn't think it was horrible or anything, but overall the game was good. And I really enjoyed it. The characters are all likable. They're easy to root for, and the mystery was very interesting for the most part. I thought the characters were all well written and well acted, and the music was great. I love that the game would just let you sit down and just absorb the environment around you, the atmosphere around you, like Life is Strange does. And it was a really good time. It's a Dory game, 100%. But it's also but it's one of my favorite genres too. I really enjoy these narrative games, especially with teenage angst. in the 90s or 80s or whatever, and they say cliche, corny lines, and I'm a sucker for that stuff. They're always a rock. They're always like singing or like, you know, punk rock, basically. It's very punk rock. All right, let's move on to my number 5, which is Blueprints, which could easily be someone's game of the year because it is one of the most highly rated games of the year. This is in the 90s, I believe. But what is it? It is a puzzle game and a roguelike game. It is developed by Doju Bomb, and is published by Raw Fury. So the premise is you explore a shifting mansion full of clever puzzles and hidden secrets. Every run shuffles rooms and challenges, keeping you on your toes. The style is smart, atmospheric, and artistic with calm but mysterious vibe, and it focuses on exploration, problem solving, and replayable layouts. And this game takes about 6 to 8 hours to beat on your first playthrough. But there's tons of branching paths and secrets, and there's a lot of replay value. The fact this game was so good that I have a puzzle game on my list because I usually hate puzzle games, but this game was actually very good. It is one of the best indie games of the year by far. It's really a blast. Even watching a speedrun of this game is really fun. I just love the art style. I love the mystery. The concept of it was just really good. It was free like on PS Plus too as well. I thought the price was fair for it. Like I really enjoyed everything about this game. And I really don't like puzzles, nor do I like roguelikes, and yet this game is both. And that's how good it was that I liked it. And it's even in my top 5 indie games of the year. This could have easily been in my top 10 games of the year as well. It just missed it, I think. But it is. It's only because I don't love the genre as much as other people. If I did like this genre, this would easily be in my like top 5 games of the year, because it truly is one of the best games of the year objectively. But it's not for everybody. This is going to appeal to a very niche audience, so hence the indie title, right? But especially this game, because it's puzzles and roguelites are not for everybody. I can't recommend this game for Dory personally, because your sense of direction and the roguelite nature of this game would drive you for a loop. Because
this game would drive me crazy.
Yeah, because you can barely follow a walkthrough because it's random. So.
Yeah.
All right. So, number 4, Dory. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Shotgun Cop Man. This is developed by Dead Toast Entertainment and published by Devolver Digital. The premise is very, very simple. You are a cop who is a man wielding a shotgun. Your mission is simple. Go to hell and arrest Satan. It's from the people who made My Friend Pedro, so the arresting will be done with some style, mostly aka precision platforming. So this is a precision platformer, action shooter game. Very, very, very cartoony. Probably, arguably the most cartoony game on my list. And the length, a little over 3 hours. Nothing major. I was very surprised how much I loved this game. In fact, I think it's still in my top 10, but barely. I think it's my number 10. I love this game so much because it is incredibly ridiculous. It does not take itself seriously at all. And the precision platforming is very fair, and you come back very quickly. And I never felt like, obviously there are secret levels and optional stuff that's bonkers and I would never play it. But most of the casual stuff that you do between each level is fine. Like, I don't think it's incredibly frustrating. It's not Super Meat Boy at all. It didn't even feel like Celeste or anything like that. It felt very accessible and approachable to me personally. So yeah, I'm about as surprised as all of you are that a precision platformer is this high up on my list. But I really enjoyed my time with it. Its sense of humor is very good. And the boss fights are very fun. I did have some minor issues with some of the boss fights later on. But generally speaking, I was very happy with how the game played and ran and just, was. So, yeah, great game. Really great game. And hope everyone goes check it out.
All right, so my number 4 is Dispatch, which is developed and published by ADHOC, Ad Hoc Studio. The genre is it's a narrative game and it's a strategy game. So you manage high stakes emergency situations as a dispatcher for superheroes, and you make quick decisions that impact outcomes. And then every choice in this game matters. It changes the narrative, and they always keeps the tension high. So the style of this game is it's a mix of narrative in terms of like it's like a Telltale game where like there's acting and characters talking to each other and dialogue, and you pick choices, and that changes the story of the game. But the real core of this game is the strategy. There's a big board, and there's situations that happen around the map, and you have to manage with the right superhero to handle that right situation. So there could be a robbery, a plane crash, a fire, whatever, right? And you have to send the right person at the time. All right, so that's the main. That's really what this game really is. It's a strategy game, and it takes about 4 to 6 hours, maybe more, to beat it. Like I'll say, was it 8 hours? I would say. I don't know the time's wrong. I think it's like 8 to 10 hours actually. I would say it's 8 to 10 hours of this game. I think it's one of the best games of the year. It is in my top 10 game of the year. It's one of the it's so up my alley. I love Telltale style games. I miss it. They're still around, but not like they used to be. I just love having an 8 to 10 hour like experience. Like it's like watching a show. It's like a season 1. I hope there's a season 2 of this. I really had a blast with this game. I just loved the characters and the acting and the gameplay loop is addicting. Handling the map is so fun. Like I really, really, really enjoyed this game. And Dory, you're going to be talking about it, so we'll get to it when we get to yours. So Dory, number 3.
You're not going to believe this, everybody. Get ready for this. It's Dispatch. Developed and published by Ad Hoc. Washed up superhero. You need to bring a team of former villains to some sense of justice. Good luck. Choices matter, story rich, strategy, all this stuff that Seb just said. Classic cartoon style, around 10 hours. I loved this game. I'm so glad that Telltale, in some capacity, is basically back. We are so back, maybe not quite, but we are mostly so back, as their trailer would say. Brought to you by some of the people who did. But yeah, this was a really great game. I loved the characters, loved the writing. A little bit too much on the swearing, edgy stuff for me at times, but overall, very, very funny. Mm-hmm. I love the strategy game. Surprisingly, really enjoyed the tactical strategy part of it, where you're just actually dispatching. I thought the hacking mini game was a little frustrating, and I was a little let down by the ending, which is probably why I'm not as high on it as some other people are. Just the ending I got specifically, and felt like I deserved a better ending, but I mean that's probably possibly a user error. But anyway, overall, really great game. Really, really great game. Had a lot of fun with it. It's currently in my top 10. So, yep, good stuff. Go check it out. I mean, it's overwhelmingly positive on Steam based on thousands upon thousands of reviews. So, yeah, it's really good, and it deserves all the praise it's got. Also, one of the leads behind the game said, fuck AI. So, just cool stuff all around. Good stuff.
All right, so my top 3 is by far, I think, is by far the best indie games of the year. They're all predictable. They're all nominated for Game of the Year categories at the Game Awards. Like, these are all big ones. So I'm not doing any surprises here. I'm just being very transparent. My list, my next 3 games are all very well respected, well known games. So I don't have to go in crazy detail about them. But number 3 for me is Hollow Knight Silksong, which finally came out after a long wait from the first game. It is developed and published by Team Cherry, and the genre is a Metroidvania. The premise is you play as Hornet, exploring a beautifully crafted, dangerous world filled with secrets and enemies and challenging bosses. The goal is to uncover the kingdom's mysteries while mastering its fast, fluid combat. The style is the very gorgeous gothic, hand-drawn visuals, the tight platforming, which has some issues here and there. In the deep Metroidvania exploration, there's smooth movement and varied abilities to make every encounter feel satisfying. I would say is perhaps the longest game on both of our lists. This game could be over 50 to 60 hours long, even more, if you want to get absolutely everything. But it's about, I would say 25 to 35 hours, I would say, of how long this game is, if you just like play the main story. But there's so much to do in this game. It is one of the best games of the year. It is in my top 5 games of the year, period. And it lived up to the hype. I don't know if it's as good as the first game. It has issues, and I don't blame some people for being disappointed. It didn't live up to the expectations, but how could it? Because people put this game on like another level of hype. But it accomplished what it wanted to do. It is one of the best Metroidvanias to play. It is just absolutely fantastic. This game is gonna have very long legs. I think it's gonna have DLC and everything, but like, it's accessible. You can play. It's very fair price. It was like $20, which is insane, right? In today's market, it works great on the Steam Deck. It works on every handheld. The artwork, people are gonna be drawing forever. It's one of those gems in the industry, and I really love this game. So I strongly recommend Silksong for people to do like Metroidvanias. All right, Dory, what is your number 2 game of the year? I mean, indie game of the year.
Yeah. Fuck all that shit. Fuck you, Metroidvanias. Let's do a dice-based game that's an RPG and super narrative heavy. It is Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector. Of course, I'm just kidding. Enjoy what you enjoy.
Also a thumbnail that we had.
Yes. The developer is Jump Over the Age, and publisher is one of my favorite publishers, Fellow Traveler.
Yes.
One of my favorite indie publishers, I guess I should say. You are an escaped android on the run from the corporation that used to own you. Use dice, your compatriots, and whatever safe havens you find along the way to get away from those who are hunting you down. Story-rich RPG strategy, some survival elements, although I wouldn't say that they're so pronounced that it is going to drive you crazy. Like, I'm pretty sensitive to survival elements. I just tried to play this narrative-driven detective game with small survival elements called Kona, and I lasted about an hour before I got tired of it. So I think this is a pretty good way to balance those. Of course, it's the second game. I love the first. I love the second as well. Maybe not as much just because diminishing returns, but still excellent. Incredible writing. Very, very good visuals, very cartoony, and the length was about around 10 hours. Probably not as long as Bloom and Rage, but not that far off.
Yeah.
This was a super fun game to me. I got legitimately emotional towards the end of it because I'm a big softie when it comes to fictional media.
Yeah.
And I loved this in general. I think that they're done with the Citizen Sleeper series after this, and they're going on to do other things, which I think is a good move.
Well, does it have a definitive ending?
Yeah. I mean, it does. I would say it has a definitive... There's multiple endings, so that's why I kind of hesitate.
Okay.
But I think that there is a canon ending that they want you to get. But I struggle to say that there's like a...
Let me rephrase that. Does it wrap everything up for the characters where like there's nowhere to go with it, really? Like
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this was an excellent game. It's not like amazing or incredible or masterful, but it's excellent. I again was not as entranced in the story as it would have been before, as it would have been in the last game, or was in the last game. Sorry.
Yeah.
But I still had a ball with it, and think it's really worth your time if you enjoy a good RPG dice-based game.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to play it at some point. I just got to find the time. But you said it's only 10 hours to beat?
Yeah, it's similar to the first game, only around 10 hours.
Okay. All right. The next 2 games on my list are not just my top 2 indie games of the year, but they're also my top 2 games of the year, period. Spoiler for our video coming up in a few weeks, but these are my 2 favorite games of the year, period. It was that good of a year for indie games. So my number 2 indie game of the year is Hades 2, which is developed and published by Supergiant Games, and it's an action roguelite / dungeon crawler game. The premise is you play as the new protagonist who's like navigating the underworld and battling a bunch of monsters and gods and a bunch of challenges, and each run you upgrade your abilities and you try new strategies and different weapons. It's like Hades 1, right? It's very fast paced, very stylized. God, the animation is gorgeous. The art style I just love. It's fast paced and satisfying. There's tons of build variety. There's great writing, memorable characters, and addictive progression loops. It its length is about 25 to 35 hours, depending on skill, right? You can beat this game even faster than that if you're just that good, right? Like you're just that masterful of a gamer that you can just beat it all in one go. I guess you technically could do that, right, Dory? If you're that good at this game.
If you wanted, I don't know. I mean, I put 60 hours into it and I never got credits, but maybe
Okay.
if you're really fucking good and you could beat it in 30
Go
hours. But
Super
I mean,
Saiyan one day. Yeah. Just
yeah, just
unlock.
go Ultra Instinct. I guess you could.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a masterpiece. I mean, what is there to say? Dory, this was your. I want to say that. Was this your game of the year? No, this wasn't your game of the year, but it was like number two for
No,
you last year,
it
I
was,
think.
yeah, I was very close to being my game of the year, but not quite.
Yeah. But in any other year, this could have been my game of the year. But because of the next game we're going to talk about, this game is just insanely good. Like, I mean, it's a masterpiece. What else can you say? It's that good of a game. And the reason why you don't have Dory, you don't have it on your list is because you already had it on your list last year. So you just
Yeah, I'm a stickler for this, and it's totally self-imposed. But I felt like I wanted to highlight other indies because I already talked about Hades 2 so much last year, and I talked about it this year,
yeah
and I put 60 hours into it. So I just rather play
yeah
something else. Also, I was wrong about this being the Bloom and Rage being my longest because actually my number one is the longest. But yeah,
yeah yes. So when we get to the top 10 video game, I'll go in more detail of why I love Hades 2, but
yeah.
yeah, it is a masterpiece. All right, Dory and me, we could just get right to our number one because it's no secret. The best indie game of the year is
Harriet,
Clear,
Harriet.
Clear Obscure Expedition 33. It's not just the best indie game of the year, but it's my game of the year and Dory's game of the year as well.
Yeah.
It is the best game of the year. It's gonna win almost every award at Game Awards.
Did you hear that the Silk Song devs said they're literally
Yes.
Team Cherry? I guess I should say are literally not going to show up because
Yeah.
they're so sure that they're not winning Game of the Year. I was like, guys, what about Indie Game of the Year? You could win that. They're not going to. You could win that.
Yeah, you should at least show up for like your colleagues like in the industry, right?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of lame. I'm like, guys, come on, like
Enjoy
at
it.
least show
Just
up
be there for the show and have fun and stuff like that.
Yeah, you get to meet the Muppets. Like, come on, I'd
Yeah.
kill to meet the Muppets.
I would go just for
I'd
the
kill
fun.
Seb to meet the Muppets.
Even if my game had zero chance of winning, I would still show up and just have fun and be a good sport.
It's such an honor to even be I know the Game Awards don't really,
Yeah.
we don't, it's not the biggest deal in the world or whatever.
Yeah, you don't get like a $5 million bonus for getting nominated or anything, but it's still a nice honor. Anyway, Expedition 33 is developed by Sandfall Interactive and it's published by Kepler Interactive. And the premise, well, basically there's a paintress and she paints a number, and everybody who turns that age dies. And for years, an expedition is sent to the island to stop her, but they never come back. And our group of our team is sent there as Expedition 33 because his girlfriend died, and they're gonna go try to stop the paintress, and then a bunch of stuff happens, and we won't dare spoil anything that happens after that. But that's really the premise of the game. You get to explore a really awesome world that's just colorful and fun and beautiful. I mean, it's a AAA. It's an indie game, but it looks very AAA as well. It's very stylized. There's tons of strange creatures and enemies and bosses, and there's so much to explore. There's so many side bosses. There's so much to do. So what kind of game is it? It is a turn-based RPG. It's kind of like the Paper Mario series where like you have to block and like parry and things like that. You have to time your blocks and your dodges and things like that, and it gets really hard. It's a turn-based game, but it's very stylized turn-based game. And Dory, anything you want to add to the gameplay or like the game?
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about other stuff besides the gameplay because
Sure.
you've covered it pretty well.
Okay.
But I mean, the voice acting, the writing, sensational. The storytelling, incredible. The music is a 5 out of 5 masterpiece. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this is a game that absolutely, like,
Yeah.
my biggest regret I think this year in terms of gaming is I rushed through this a little bit too much. Like I didn't I wasn't getting tired of it, but like I was getting frustrated because there are some difficult, it's classic RPGs fashion. There are some difficulty spikes with the last few bosses, and I had to change around my party and do a little bit of
Yeah.
grinding. So like, that was at that point I was like, I don't want to do the optional fights. I don't want to fucking fight that loser down below. I just want to
Yeah.
I just
That
Simon or whatever.
Yeah, that Simon
I
boss.
just want to
It's
retain.
crazy. That
Yeah.
Simon boss is tough.
I just want to retain my sanity and just finish this game and definitely not cry a lot, which actually I didn't somehow.
Yeah.
But
I,
yeah.
I feel like it's got to be one of my longest games played this year. I put like 65 hours into it. I want to say.
Yeah. I put around like 40ish. I
Yeah.
don't remember exactly
'Cause
how much. And then
yeah.
Hades 2 I put in like 35 hours or something. So Hades 2 and Expedition 33 are probably my two
Yeah.
games I put in the most time to.
I'd have to look. That could be a topic in itself, and like certain, like we could categorize it like what's your longest gameplay of the year, that kind of thing. Oh, but anyway, Expedition 33 is a masterpiece. Like it's the only game we had a spoiler cast for, so that's how good the story
Yep.
is. Like there was, because we really want to go in depth about how like the characters, and it was really masterful. Like, it was insanely good. This is pure beauty and pure art. I mean, the music is one of the greatest soundtracks of all time. I think it's, for me, it's the third best game of the decade. Because I still like Baldur's Gate 3 and Elden Ring better, but this is truly like, this is gonna be remembered as one of the greatest games of the 2020s. It is that good, and it's gonna win most of the Game Awards, if not all of them. It's Expedition 33's year. Now watch it not win Game of the Year. Now that I said that, but I'm pretty confident it's gonna. It's just, it's too beloved. I know some fans can be annoying about it, but you can't let people sour the game for you. You can't sour on the game because people are annoying online about it. Like it really is that good in my opinion. But if you don't like turn-based RPGs, it might not be for you. But that doesn't make it a bad game. It is. I think it's a masterpiece. All right. Anything more before we wrap it up?
Lots of replay value in terms of the optional stuff you
Yes,
can do,
absolutely.
and I believe there's a new game plus mode. They are adding new content to it pretty soon. We don't know exactly when. I honestly, just for a laugh, I want them to do it like the day before GOTY or the day after or something. Just somehow coincide with the game of the year. I think that would be very funny, but they won't do that. I think they're too humble. But yeah, I really love this game a lot. I think Mael is one of my favorite characters of all time. She's got to be up there with the all-time greats for me. And I just really appreciate this game and a lot of what it's going for. And I think it just completely smashed it out of the park. Imagine if I hadn't gone into turn-based RPGs like a couple years ago and I just completely passed by
Thanks to
this
me.
game. What a
Thanks to me.
tragedy that would
Thanks
have
to
been.
me.
Yeah. We're gonna ignore that. But yeah, I love this game to death. It's incredible. I would sooner give this a 5 than a 4, and it's just
Oh yeah.
a wild ride
This is
from start to finish.
this is my only game of the year that I can say is pretty much a 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's like a 9.7 or whatever. You want to be really technical with it, but like it's as perfect as you can get. Like, because all my problems with the
Yeah.
game are like minor. So, all right, that concludes our episode, and next week we'll be talking about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and then the week after that is the Game Awards, and the week after that is our top 10 games of the year, which we already spoiled a good amount of it. Because this was the year of the indie. It really was.
it really was.
Indie games are carrying the industry right now because everything's $80, $70, and indie games, Hollow Knight, $20. Dispatch was what, 30
Yeah, I mean, you
bucks?
just said Kirby Air Riders is $70. I'm like, I would never spend that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, Dory. Thanks for joining me. You have a good night. Thanks for watching, everybody, and peace out. Peace, 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 peace.
Parry it. Don't be a coward.